This is going to be a quick tutorial on APA formatting for the American Nicaraguan School. Now know that this is for citations to avoid plagiarism. Teachers may have different requirements of what they expect, but this is one tool that you can use as a resource to kind of refer to how citations should work, so you can avoid plagiarism and possibly getting in trouble for using someone else's work without crediting them. So first off, the general APA guidelines, and this is the same for MLA as well. So for an essay, it needs to be typed double-spaced, your standard size, 8.5 inches by 11 inches, 1-inch margins on all sides. Please don't mess with the margins when you open a Word document. Just leave it as it is. Teachers know if you are messing with the margins. Always 12-point Times New Roman font. There should be no other fonts, nothing fancy. Straight up Times New Roman. Okay, and for APA, there should be a page header at the top of every page, but some teachers do not require that. So APA format, usually there's a title page, but you can also, for our purposes in the high school, you can also just have your information at the top of the page. So if you have a title page, you should have the title of the paper, the author, which would be your name, your institutional affiliation, so in this case it would be the American Nicaraguan School, and then you should have a page header on the left-hand side and page number on the right-hand side. Or, probably more realistic for our purposes, at the top of the page you're going to put your name, the date of submission, the class period, and then the teacher's name. After that, centered in bold letters, it doesn't need to be in bigger than 12-point font. You should put the title of your essay, or whatever you're working on. So the main body of the essay needs to include an introduction with a thesis, your several body paragraphs. For several classes, that'll just be 3 body paragraphs, but it really depends on what your teacher is looking for. Know that these body paragraphs is when you need to use evidence to support what your thesis is saying, right? So your thesis is your argument, the evidence is the pieces of information that are backing up your thesis, that are proving your argument. And when you use evidence, you probably didn't gather this information yourself, so you need to cite this evidence, right, in the main body, using proper citation techniques. And then you should have a conclusion as well, which really restates the purpose of the paper and makes any final remarks. For the most part, unless it's a reflective paper of some sort, you should never use personal pronouns as I or me. The reasons for this is it really weakens your argument as a whole. So let's talk briefly about in-text citations. And this is the APA method. MLA is similar, but a little bit different. So for the APA format, you need to follow the author date method of in-text citation. So for an example, if your author was Jones, the last name would be Jones, and they published an article in 1998, you'd put it in parentheses, Jones, comma, 1998, parentheses. Okay? Then a complete reference needs to appear in the reference list. So if I see Jones in your writing, I need to be able to go to the reference list and say, oh, this is the article that Jones wrote in 1998. If you are not directly quoting, you do not need to include a page number. All sources cited in the text must appear in the reference list. So let me give you some different ways to cite quotes using APA format. So here's one example, the first one. According to Jones, 1998, so now we can see that you had Jones as your author, and it was published in 1998. Students often had difficulty using APA style, especially when it was their first time. And then the page number. If you use a quote, you have to have a page number. The second example is Jones, 1998, found students often have difficulty using APA style, page number, and what implications does this have for teachers? And finally, she stated, students often have difficulty with APA style, Jones, 1998, page 199, but she did not offer an explanation as to why. So you can see there's 3 different ways. They essentially say the exact same thing, but as a reader, the teacher can tell exactly who wrote, where you got this quote from, when the article was published, and they should be able to go to that article and find your quote on page 199. If you're summarizing or paraphrasing, it only requires the author and year of publication. So, for example, according to Jones, 1998, APA style is a difficult citation format for first-time learners. There is no quotation, therefore you don't need a page number. You can put in a page number if you would like. For the second example, APA style is a difficult citation format for the first-time learners, Jones 1998, page 199, but it is not necessary. So after you've written your paper, you have to create a reference list, right? And so here are the basic rules for your reference list. All lines after the first line of each entry should have a 1/2 indent. So this is called a hanging indent. For example, just as this line appears here, right? The author's names are inverted, so you're going to have the last name, comma, the first initial, period. It should be alphabetized by author's last name. So it goes in order, starting with A, ending with Z. If it's the same author, you list the one that is published first. You capitalize all major words in journal titles, and books, chapters, articles, websites, they're capitalized first word in the title or subtitle. So I'm just going to show you some quick examples of that. A great resource for you to use is called OWL English at Purdue University, and that will kind of give you all the different formats for different types of evidence that you could use in your papers. But here's just a simple format of the reference list. You got the author's last name, comma, their first initial, or maybe their first two initials, followed by the year of publication. So if this is 1998, you're going to have the title of work in capitals, also for the subtitle, and then a location, a publisher. So this is for a book, okay? If it's an article, you can do the author. If it's two different authors, you'd have the author and author B, the title of the article, and then the journal title, as well as the issue number and the pages. Okay, and then if it's a website, remember that websites, you really shouldn't be using websites unless there is an author. But similar format as before, you have the author's last name, first name, the initials, date of publication, title of the document or web page, and then you need to tell us where you got that information from. So those are the basics of APA. If you have any questions, you need to refer to the following website, this owl.english.purdue.edu. It also has great information on MLA as well, so if your teachers are requiring MLA, you can refer to that. So you can refer to this video anytime you want. Come speak to your teachers about what they require, and good luck.